Welcome back to the broadcast. During a nighttime air mission in Desert Storm, Lieutenant Colonel Kevin Sweeney heard one of his crew members say, "The engines aren't on fire, they're gone." Can you even imagine? Would you freeze at this horrific declaration or respond like you've been trained to? Well, as we recognize those who have served in our military today, we're going to find out what decision Kevin Sweeney made and what you can learn from it. Good morning. Thank you for being here.
Good morning. Thanks, Lisa.
Okay, tell us what happened.
Well, it was at night, and we were flying along, and actually it was the other pilot's turn to fly. I was the aircraft commander, and the other pilot was flying, and we hit jet wash from another airplane 2.6 miles ahead of us, 500 feet above us. The autopilot malfunctioned and threw us into a Dutch roll. We're going 110 degrees of bank in both directions every 1.1 seconds. I got that off the black box. Get us out of the Dutch roll, and there's two firelights, and we could feel in the stick she wouldn't fly. Start trading altitude for airspeed. Tell the co-pilot, I said, start dumping gas. I said one of the other crew members, "Hey, run back there, Steve. Tell me how bad the fires are," because we look at the engine instruments, they're all over the place. And so he comes back and he says, "They're not on fire. They're gone."
Like gone?
They're gone. I was like, off the airplane.
How did that happen?
Well, if you exceed 2.75 lateral Gs, they'll snap off. And when we were going that Dutch roll, 110 degrees every 1.1 seconds in both directions, they snap off.
This was during Desert Storm?
During Desert Storm at night.
Oh my gosh, and here you've told that story, and not once did you say, "I was scared to death."
Well, you can't allow yourself to get scared. I was scared for a microsecond, and then I said, "You can't be that way." And I never got scared till my feet were on the ground again. Then I allowed myself to get scared, but in the interim, you can't get scared. You got to go back to your training and do what's right.
And you've been teaching people now how to use some very simple, basic principles to make sure that if they're ever in a situation, obviously not one like this, but something that's they would normally be fearful in, they know how to handle it now.
Oh, yes. I mean, the military has trained you very well. And one of the things I always train you is proper preparation. Expect the unexpected. The flight crew is one of the few occupations that practice for the worst day. And so when that happens to you, I knew this day was coming.
Right.
Because we practiced, going to simulator, practice losing an engine. I'd actually landed on 2 engines in the simulator before. Now, they weren't gone,
right.
but so I knew I could do it.
Right.
So you outlined some steps in your book called Pressure Cooker Confidence, and I feel like anyone in business needs to use this if they are, in any sort of negotiation or any kind of situation that they really can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. You've got some good tips. What are they?
Well, that's proper preparation, what we talked about, being ready for the unexpected and practice for that worst day. Then have the passion for what you're doing. You got to really love it, and you work on it. And then focus on what you can control, not on what you can't control. Ignore the immaterial. And when I look back on that flight, that ignore the immaterial was one of the most important things our whole flight crew did. We focused on what we had, not what we didn't have. Then how to be that great teammate, that everybody, all your colleagues, all your customers covet. And then have that self-confidence. I'm not talking about that cocky Top Gun confidence so much.
Right.
I'm talking about really that charismatic confidence that everybody wants to be on your team.
And you're confident because you actually know what you're doing.
You know what you're doing, and you're prepared for it. You're ready to go.
What about when you play what if? Because I do that in life, don't you? Where you go, okay, what if this happens? What if that happens? To a certain extent, you have to play what if to prepare yourself for what might happen, but it can be a bad thing too, can it?
Well, I don't ever think it's really a bad thing, because in the flight crew occupation, we go take that. American Airlines, Southwest Airlines, they go take those simulators, their pilots and flight crews, their flight attendants, so that it's not a shock to their system when something goes wrong. And you do all that what if. You practice losing engine, losing hydraulic pressure, losing cabin pressure. What's the flight attendant going to do if we lose cabin pressure? How are we going to make an emergency landing? What's the flight crew going to do if they lose an engine? So that everybody knows it. So when that happens to you, you go, okay, I knew this day was coming. This is my opportunity to show everybody what a great asset I am to my organization.
And this has not happened again. This accident has not happened again to this kind of plane ever in history.
No, and I hope it doesn't to anybody else, because it was a little sporty, let me tell you. But we made it. It was a 4-person job. Everybody on the team had to do their job and to get us back safely. Because it took us an hour and 15 minutes from when it happened to get back to a base where we could land.
That's incredible.
Thank you so much for sharing your story, and I know a lot of people out there are going to be picking up this book because it seems to me to be a real good sales tool when you're in the business world too.
Thank you for your service too.
Oh, my pleasure. All but one flight. I'd skip one flight, but I'd do the rest of them all again.
Thank you so much.
Again, the name of Lieutenant Colonel Kevin Sweeney's book is Pressure Cooker Confidence. You can get more details from his website at thebroadcasttv.com. All right, with the holidays fast approaching, it's a good time to stock up on beverages for all your visitors. So see what beers pair with your holiday meals and impress your guests.